So it's no surprise to anyone who watches or listens to my videos where I stand on the US election. It's no surprise that I support Bernie Sanders. I would love to see Bernie Sanders become the next president of the United States of America. Not only would it be good for America, it would be good for the rest of the world, including Canada, like with things like trade relations, military, etc. And I just like to see, it's nice to see and hear about countries improving their standard of living. And I think Bernie Sanders would do that through taxpayer funded healthcare, taxpayer funded post secondary education, as well as other measures that would make America a better place. As much as I support Bernie Sanders and as much as I would vote for him if I could vote in the US election, unfortunately, I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to win. To me, even though he got off to a strong start and there's still a long way to go, my guess right now is that Joe Biden will end up winning the Democratic nomination. And it's going to be a race between Joe Biden as the Democrat and, unfortunately, Donald Trump as the Republican. The reason why I think Joe Biden is going to defeat Bernie Sanders in the race for the leader of the Democrat Party is that Joe Biden, he's just your typical American politician, accepting handouts and donations from billionaires. The usual suspects, the pharmaceutical companies, the banks, the insurance companies, large organizations like that will donate to his campaign and subsidize, and sway the media, and influence the American voters. Because Joe Biden seems to be your typical establishment politician that's just willing to keep things the same. If you want any degree of medical insurance, to keep things the same, that these health insurance companies can keep charging Americans an arm and a leg for health insurance, and then having all kinds of clauses and excuses for why they can't cover this procedure and why they can't cover that procedure and why they're going to have to jack up their rates all the time and why they might refuse them service down the road, etc. Have all kinds of excuses for, continuing to charge probably the most expensive college and university tuition fees in the industrialized world, so that students end up being in debt to banks for years and years and years, having to pay all kinds of interest and everything. You see, Bernie Sanders, he's anti-establishment, he's anti-corporate corporate donation. Like, he won't accept corporate donations, to the best of my understanding. It's my understanding that the way Bernie Sanders' campaign is subsidized is through ordinary people like you and I, who will send them like $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 at a time, instead of corrupt big business that will donate billions of dollars to put out billboards and expensive commercials, scaring Americans into just staying with the status quo, keeping things the way they are. so that the rich can keep getting richer, the poor can keep getting poorer, and the middle class can also keep getting poorer and getting screwed in the process. I mean, if American elections were fair, then the best candidate for the job would get voted in. But unfortunately, American elections are not fair. I think if Bernie Sanders were running in any other country in the industrialized world, like Canada, many parts of Europe, such as the UK, Germany, France, Scandinavian countries like Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway, if he was running in Switzerland, if he was running in Belgium, if he was running in Australia or New Zealand, I believe Bernie Sanders would get in a heartbeat. Because Bernie Sanders actually cares about improving living standards for the middle class and poor. And a big way he would do that is by taxing the very rich to start finally paying their way and helping out the less fortunate in society. But no, I guess in the US, that's just not desired by typical politicians because they get subsidized by these rich companies, by these billionaires and millionaires who just want to keep the same cycle going and going over and over again. I just think it sucks. And I feel sorry for any Americans that are looking for a change for the better, because unfortunately, they're not going to get it through Joe Biden. They would get it through Bernie Sanders, but unfortunately, it's looking like Bernie Sanders is not going to win. Trust me, I'm rooting for Bernie Sanders. I really hope that I'm wrong on this video, and I hope that Bernie Sanders becomes the next president of the United States of America. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. However, even if Bernie Sanders doesn't get in as the next Democrat, as the next leader of the Democrats, my advice to Americans is vote for any Democrat, whether it's Joe Biden or whether it's someone else that wins the Democratic nomination for the U.S. Democrats. Vote Democrat over Republican. At the end of the day, the Democrats care about ordinary people, care about the middle class and the poor, more than Donald Trump or any other Republican would care. So, as strong as I am a supporter of Bernie Sanders, and even though I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden, I would much rather vote for any Democrat any day of the week over Donald Trump or any other Republican for that matter. So no matter who's on the ballot, I hope Americans do the right thing and vote Democrat.